Frank Hopper.
Juliet Rett.
We have the minutes of the previous meeting, please.
Sure. The Georgetown Housing Authority met in regular session on Wednesday, June 11, 2014. The meeting was called to order at 3:30 by Frank Hopper. Roll call. Frank Hopper, Elizabeth Davidson, Dave Shaw, and Juliet Rett. The minutes of the May 14th meeting were accepted. The 667 waitlist has 74 applicants, 27 non-elderly, 2 emergencies, 1 transfer, and 47 elderly. 705 waitlist has 233 applicants, 7 are emergencies. We had 2 move-ins for May. We currently have 2 vacancies. 91 work orders were completed for May at 667, 1 was urgent. There are currently 8 open. 3 work orders were completed for 705, 1 was urgent, there is currently 9 open. Diane started covering the Topsfield Housing Authority on May 23rd while the ED is on medical leave. This is expected to last 3 to 5 months. Chris Bantham and Diane Knight spoke to the board about smoke-free housing. Shower made a motion to nominate Hopper for chairman, second by Rec, unanimous. Hopper made a motion to nominate Shower for vice chairman, Davidson for treasurer, and Rec for vice treasurer, second by Rec, unanimous. Hopper made a motion to adjourn at 4:10.
Are there any corrections? Are there any corrections? If there are no corrections, I'll accept the minutes as read.
Okay, and then there was a special meeting on June 30th. Shower called the meeting to order at 3:15. Roll call, Dave Shower, Juliet Rett, and Elizabeth Davidson. Excused absent, Frank Hopper. Davidson made a motion to approve the low bid of $59,640 for the barrier-free remodel, second by Shower, unanimous. Shower made a motion to approve the low bid of $12,950 for the Spruce Lane repaving project, second by Davidson, unanimous. Rec made a motion to approve the capital plan, second by Shower, unanimous. Rec made a motion to approve the payment of $67,535 for the curbing and catch basin project, second by Shower, unanimous. Rec made a motion to approve final completion and payment of $3,805 for the curbing and catch basin project, second by Davidson, unanimous. A request by James Tolman for a letter of support for a variance on Jewett Street was denied. Rec made a motion to approve a change order for the CPC-funded community building light replacement project to include 7 exterior light fixtures that were not included in the specs. Second by Shower, unanimous. Meeting adjourned at 3:30.
Are there any corrections? Any corrections? If not, I'll accept the minutes as read. The executive director's report.
Okay, for September 10th, there's 81 people on our wait list for 667, 31 in non-elderly, 1 emergency, 0 transfers, and 50 elderly. 705 wait list has 233, 7 are emergencies. We had 8 move-ins for June, July, and August. Currently, we have 1 vacancy. 202 work orders were completed for 667 for June, July, and August. 4 were urgent. There are currently 15 open. 10 work orders were completed for 705, 1 was urgent. There are currently 3 open. The CPC-funded community room light replacement project was completed on 6/30 for a cost of $18,551. On July 7th, we were approved for additional funding for reserve augmentation in the amount of $5,163. The capital plan was approved on 8/4/14 from DHCD. On 8/5/14, a grant was approved for additional handicap parking as a reasonable accommodation in the amount of $7,500. On 8/13, I submitted a revision to our capital plan to add $4,300 for a failed septic pump. On 8/19, Officer Mark Anderson came to our weekly tenants meeting to discuss forming a tenants watch group. Annual fire department inspections were done on August 28th and 29th. EMG will be conducting an assessment of the property on 9/17. That has since changed. It's being scheduled till October.
Thank you. Unfinished business.
Okay, I need signatures for our quarterly operating statements. So let's see, that would be you here, Juliet, Frank there, and then I'd sign this. And then you can pass it down to Dave. That's a year-end operating statement.
Yeah.
Executive Director. Okay, the next item is back in the spring, we approved me working additional hours to prepare for the capital plan because the class is only on Fridays. So we just need to approve that payment of $527.
Accept the motion?
So moved.
No, not you.
A second.
Oh, you.
I'll make a motion, we pay the.
We're gonna pay
That'd
you.
be awesome. Thank you. All right. Next item is approve the final completion for the Spruce Lane repaving in the amount of $20,000, $20,650 with additional funding of $7,500 for a reasonable accommodation to add 2 additional handicap parking spaces. Well,
Where are the parking spaces?
they're right over here by the handicap building. Yeah.
Who came up with
It's
those?
expensive.
Well, it actually came to $5,700, but then they found 6 layers of asphalt where they expected 1, so that's where the additional $2,000 came in. You never know until you dig it up what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
I'll make the motion that we pay this.
I second
This is coming from DHCD. This
DHCD,
isn't
right,
coming from our
correct,
operating.
exactly.
Yeah. Unanimous?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I need to approve the final completion for the septic UV in the amount, this is the septic UV light that fails in the pumping station, in the amount of $24,987. This is a job that you all approved back in the spring, it's just finishing up now.
Finishing up.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
I second.
And unanimous?
Yes.
I think that's all I have, unless there was something else. I have the breakdown of all the,
Let's see,
the billing.
I notice here, approved change order of $2,500 to remove tree.
Oh, that's it. Okay, that's the one. Yes. I'm glad you saw that, Frank. All right, so we need to approve a change order. When they started working on the Spruce Lane repaving project, we found 6 layers of additional asphalt. That's the $20,000 I was just talking about in that $750.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
part of that
Yeah.
there, though. We don't really have to vote on that because we just did.
You have to approve the change order.
Oh, the
That's
change
it.
order, okay. I'll make the motion that we approve the change order.
There was also a tree stump that had to be removed.
Removed, yeah.
Yeah.
I second it.
All in favor?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, back to you, Frank. Or would you like me to introduce Mr. Mullin?
Before that, I had a question.
Sure.
Before, we still, did anyone meet with you yet for the walk around of Jewett Street and the property? Because I have sometime in September, if I want to throw out some dates, if it works for you guys.
Okay.
Sure.
What about as early as Monday the 15th? Do you guys have any time in the, what time do you leave?
I'll stay. Let me just go grab my calendar, okay?
Okay.
Actually,
I'm pretty flexible in that there.
Okay.
You know, as long as it's after 3 o'clock.
or even Friday?
Friday's
I could do
not
it.
good.
Friday's not good for you, okay. Or,
I mean, Monday the 15th, it works for me.
okay. I should get
This
my
coming
computer
Monday?
fixed in the morning, but I should do it later, or we could do it the following Monday.
Doesn't
That'd be
bother
the
me. I don't care.
22nd. I'm in town on the 22nd.
15th, I can do whatever you need.
Okay, actually, let's scratch 15th. I have to get my computer fixed. See what you have on the 22nd.
Empty.
Morning better?
What date now?
22nd?
Monday the
week from Monday.
22nd. I'll remind you
I
when
don't
it gets
care.
closer. Like, I drop off Franklin at like 8:45 in Groveland, so I could be
I
there.
couldn't do it, so I could make time after 10 o'clock.
Okay,
I could do that.
like 10:30?
That would be fine.
All right, 10:30, Monday the 22nd of
Okay.
September.
Great.
And just meet here and do this property first, and then we'll drive over?
That way if you don't have time to go over there.
Yeah, because yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
if Franklin's turning on me,
Yeah.
I may have to bail out.
Okay.
At
Okay.
least I only have one kid with me.
A cute one at that.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a guest speaker today, Richard Mullen. I'm going to ask everybody to hold all your questions and remarks until after he is completed. That goes for the board also. Just let's let him speak, and then if anybody has any questions when he's done, you can ask then.
Thank you, Frank. I'm Richard Mullen, 10 Spruce Lane in Georgetown. The purpose to be here today is to address the letter that we sent out to everybody, both tenants and the board.
Would you mind sitting there facing the audience, please? Thank you.
So the purpose is to address the letter that was sent out where everybody that lives here received it, you folks received it. It's addressing the problem of secondhand smoke. In the package, we also included, I think, in the information you have, not only this letter, but you should have also received a list of all of the properties throughout the state who have already gone smoke-free. And in that, if you have received this, which is there is no constitutional right to smoke, was that in the package? I think it was.
It was.
Okay. That's the support information that I speak today on. But to start, what I would like to do is update and deliver some information on smoking. Each year, smoking kills 450,000 Americans. Now, that number is greater than all the annual suicides, murders, and accidental deaths combined in the U.S. To put that into perspective, the Ebola virus may kill up to 5,000 people this year. Smoking is 90 times more deadly than the Ebola virus. Suicide is responsible for 800,000 deaths worldwide. Just trying to give you a balance of what that 450,000 number means. In the same year that they took some of these statistics, traffic deaths were 33,000, firearms killed 31, and people killed by falling was 26. So that's about 100,000 people. Smoking is 3.5 times more powerful than all of those accidents. In addition, there's 8.2 million people right now in the United States that have debilitating diseases directly related to smoking at a cost of over $25 billion per year in medical costs and lost productivity. The average smoker lives about 50 years after the time they start to smoke. The tobacco companies count on these smokers as long-term customers. Many non-smokers are unaware of what happens when you're in the presence of secondhand smoke. Two types of smoke. Primary smoke, or mainstream, is the smoke that's sucked in and exhaled by the smoker. That's secondhand smoke. The other type is side stream smoke. That comes from the cigarette ember when it's smoking. Those two are what is called secondhand smoke. Researchers also call that involuntary smoking. What happens with the smoke that is in the lungs after it's exhaled, if you're nearby a smoker, you breathe it in. Breathe that smoke in, and it's just as if you had smoked a cigarette. The only good part about that, it's 30% less toxic than side stream because the smoker has absorbed about 30% of that toxic smoke. So the next time that you're near a neighbor, just know that if you think you don't smoke, that you are smoking. It's also called passive smoking. Now, the Surgeon Generals for the last 30 years have said there is no safe level of exposure to secondhand smoke. There's no, they repeat that, there is no safe level. And the reason we have a problem with secondhand smoke and primary smoke is that smoking, like all pollution, causes free radicals in our cells. We all hear about antioxidants. Take as many antioxidants as you can to destroy free radicals. The problem is, when I am around the smoker, I can't make enough antioxidants to destroy the free radicals that come from that smoke. So what that does is that actually changes our cells. It changes the genetics of our cells, and it actually will stop the cell from producing and acting in the way it should. Cigarettes have 7,000 chemical compounds, and more than 250 of these compounds are known to be harmful and at least 69 are known to cause cancer. Every year, secondhand smoke kills 42,000 people from heart disease and another 34,000 victims from lung disease in the US alone. This is secondhand smoke, involuntary smoke. Secondhand smoke contributes to the asthma and lower respiratory infections. And here's something I think we all should be aware of, and it's extremely important. It's one of the things that moved me to be here today. Secondhand smoke increases the chances of developing Alzheimer's and dementia by 30%. 30% is a big number. Elderly residents have their quality and quantity of life diminished by living in housing where other smokers reside or near smokers. Smokers who use oxygen to breathe create a danger to themselves and their neighbors, those who smoke. Now, the facts that I shared with you are not my facts. They come from the Center of Disease Control, National Institute of Health, American Cancer Society, National Lung Association, and the World Health Organization. I bring this up because I want to make how serious it is to smoke. We have talked in the past about smokers' rights, but today what I'd like to talk about is non-smokers' rights. Smokers have a choice. They can take, there's gum, there's patches, there's sprays, there's quitting, there's chewing tobacco. They have choices. For non-smokers who are affected by smoke, as I am, if I'm in the company or near a smoker, I have no choice but to breathe the air that's available to me. I can't exist without breathing the air. None of us can. We all share that air. This apartment complex here was built 40 years ago. Presently, we share 4 units share one ventilation system for the bathrooms, which means that if a smoker is in here, in this room, the smoke goes up through the ventilation system, comes back down, and actually pollutes all of 4 units. So we can't be free. There's no way that the Housing Authority can keep us safe and secure in our apartments by allowing smoking in those units. If today the Georgetown Housing Authority went for an occupancy permit, they would not be allowed to get it because of that particular way that the ventilation is. Right now, in today's market, every house would have to have its own ventilation system. And we don't have that. A study that goes along with that has proven that there is no way, this study, and you're welcome to look at this is a 3-year study. They tried everywhere they could to eliminate secondhand smoke from units. After 3 years, the Minnesota study declared there's no way to protect it by weatherization, by stuffing holes. The only way they could do it is stop and block all air completely, so it would now be an unlivable situation. So what we ask, there are about 18% of the people in the US today smoke. The other 82% don't smoke. We are being impacted really seriously by secondhand smoke. And I mean, I can talk to a lot of people. I know the question came up, how come we didn't get more results back? This is the 3rd survey we took, by the way, in the last 2.5 years. We've taken surveys. The first group, we got a lot of responses back. The second, we got less, and this one, we got less. People are just getting to the point where they believe the Georgetown Housing Authority are not going to make a decision on this. Now, I know it's nobody's fault. This is not against smokers against non-smokers. This is about the Georgetown Housing Authority having the responsibility to provide us with safe housing and also quiet enjoyment. Quiet enjoyment is in our leases, and it's also inherent in leases that don't contain it. We have a right to be safe. So if someone next to us is making noise or doing something that impacts our living, we have the right to come to the executive director and say, I can't live quietly and peacefully. Executive director has the responsibility to stop that noise. Smoke is exactly the same. We cannot live next to a smoker in a healthy manner. We're taking years off our life, and we're also taking our daily health that's really being impacted. So what do we ask is to simply do what so many other places do. Boston had a tough time. They did their due diligence. They talked with lawyers, they talked with their tenants, and guess what? Most of their tenants said, the smokers even said, we would like to be non-smoking. Since then, what they found is that a lot of smokers now have quit. And smokers are saying, that's the impetus that gave me the way to quit, because I couldn't do it up until then. Now I know I have to do it. So this is really helpful to people who smoke. So it's not that just this is a one-sided thing. It's an overall improvement of health. So what we ask is that you just go by the lease and go by the things that everybody who did their due diligence, and the big units, Boston, just think of the ones that did it in that list. The big thousands of people being affected positively by no smoking. So what we ask you today is to declare this a non-smoking property, and then support the executive director in finding ways that if those people who want to stop smoking, we can have programs here, we can do anything we can to help those people. There's one last statistic I'll give you before I quit. Is if you had 100 smokers, 12 could quit very easily, be no problem for them. 12 on the other side would not quit no matter what. Statistics, no matter what it is, it doesn't matter. On oxygen, they'll continue to smoke. I think there's been 3 fires locally due to oxygen, people who smoked and used oxygen recently in the last 2 years. One was in Ipswich. So, what we have is we have that problem. And so I will ask you folks to go back, do your due diligence, think about it. And then in October, we'd really like a vote, one way or the other. Either say, we're putting in the lease that everybody can smoke, or we're going to put in the lease that this is a smoke-free property. And the reason for that is because the smokers are in the same situation the non-smokers are. They don't know if someone's going to come down and say, tomorrow you can't smoke. Department of Housing and Community Development has said, we suggest you stop smoking, because they don't want to go to the legislature. The legislature has already given you folks the right to do this. They've said you can actually declare this smoke-free at any time you want. So you already have that ability to do that. They've given that to you. If community development goes to the legislature, they have to go through a whole new process to get a new law passed, and that could be years. So what they're doing is they're suggesting that we don't smoke. People affected most by secondhand smoke, elderly, disabled, and pets. Here, we have many disabled, we have many elderly, and we have many pets. So I speak in behalf of those people who can't speak for themselves, or maybe are a little uncomfortable coming, because talking about secondhand smoke is a cultural taboo. We all have relatives, loved ones, and people who have smoked all their life, and we know them well, and we care about them, and they can't stop. And that's one of the reasons we say, well, we don't want to do this. But I want to think about the 88% people who now would like to have non-smoking. So I ask you finally to make a vote next week, one way or the other, next month. And if you go for non-smoking, make it happen by the end of the month. So January 1st, we go into the new year smoke-free here. So many other places. And I'll give you a quick example. Danvers started this after us. They started thinking about going smoke-free. They are smoke-free. In fact, when we talked to them, they said, we don't think we're going to do it. But after doing their due diligence and finding out the board's responsibility and the responsibility of Georgetown Housing Authority, they realized they want to actually secure safety for themselves by not being legally responsible for people who get sick from secondhand smoke. So, I thank you. And I thank you folks for putting up with it and listening and participating in this. I really think you've done a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would answer questions.
Does anybody have any questions? Anybody have anything they want to say? Yes.
I'm just here looking at your meeting. I'm not meaning to butt in, but I think I have something to share that's a good point of interest, you know. I was recently diagnosed with COPD, a borderline case. But I quit smoking 31 years ago. And they tell me it's because I used to smoke that I have it now. You know, and I have oxygen I gotta take now and then, you know. But no, I just wanted to bring that up and make it a point of interest. I don't know where secondhand smoke come into that. I don't know. I'm sure it didn't help me.
Right. Correct.
But I'm still blowing my mind. It's because I used to smoke 31 years ago that the COPD is on the scene, you know.
Long-range effects. Anybody else have anything to say?
Yes, I do. I'm going over this list of non-smoking units across Massachusetts. There are some units that are still planning to do this. They haven't already started to do
Correct.
this yet.
Right.
Okay? And basically, it's a thing where is that we are also in that planning. All right? My thing is that why can't we, I understand what Vic was saying, secondhand smoke. Why can't we either grandfather something in or 15 feet from the building where non-smokers live? All right? That way then we can come to a happy medium where nobody will be offended, okay? And that way there, the smokers will be 15 feet from the building, no smoke going anywhere but where they're at, rather than having the whole complex smoke-free.
Those are things that, I believe those are things that will be discussed when the vote is taken, and whichever way that vote goes, that will be the next step for us to do, is to make the guidelines of what happens. All right? Whether it's 15 feet or 20 feet or those are things that down the road we'll take under advisement what you're saying, but those are things that the board's gonna have to make decisions on at other points in time and be discussed. Whether the property is non-smoking or there is a buffer zone, as you just mentioned. But those are things, once the vote has been taken, that will be discussed.
Okay, well,
And obviously, the input of you people will be taken under advisement.
Mass Union has said that the tenant organization should be part of that committee to vote on how things should go.
Not on the vote, on the conditions of the vote, I would think. Not on the vote or the initial vote.
They should have the input
can
on
make-
that as well. They do.
Input, yeah.
Input.
Yes.
Okay.
No, absolutely, yeah,
You
input,
know?
but not on the vote.
Not on the vote, but the
Okay,
input,
that's fine.
okay? And where is that, that the people that do smoke, okay, would have somebody there speaking up for them as well and talking for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I say, let's take this one step at a time. I don't see why we can't vote on this next month, put it on the agenda and vote on it, and then we can move from there and take it from there. But let's get through the vote first, and let's, we'll do our study and figure it out, and then we'll take a vote in October and go from there.
Can I say something? I'm against it, okay? I don't smoke, but I don't think we have a right to take away somebody who's smoking for 50 years, their right. But nobody talks about people who sit out and leave their car running in the winter. That's more problems than the cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I myself don't, what you're saying is make it a happy medium. I think you're right, okay? Because the people who don't want to smoke, I haven't smoked since I've been 15, so it's not that I smoke. I'm against it, to tell you the truth. We have an obligation to the people who smoke too. I mean, I don't know if you heard on the news what they did in Boston today. They stopped these people from playing bingo.
Bingo.
God, I know.
Yeah,
Okay, so you people have you live here. You have rights to. I think, we have. That gets me going when three of us can say to 100 people, "I'm going to smoke." Well, what about the 60 or 40 that smoke? I mean, I think we should have. I think cigarettes are horrible. Okay, but I have an obligation to the people who smoke too. Okay, and secondhand smoke. I think people idling cars are twice as much. That's why now you see all sorts of signs, places don't idle your truck and everything because they're
Right.
finding out that's worse than smoking. And it's just a bad situation that that we're being put in, you know, trying to help out 70 people and then 30 do it, and I don't know, it's, I think we should have more discussion and voting on it next month.
I don't think that's necessary at all, because, again, and I'm not gonna get into a debate on this right today,
Well, what are we gonna
because,
do it from?
but because, as 82% compared to 18%, those are the numbers. What is our obligation? What is our obligation? The health and welfare of the people that live here. So, and again, I say, I'm not gonna, we have a vote to make, we'll make our vote, but let's just leave it at that.
I have a question about this vote, if it does happen next month. Do we need all board members present? So would Betty need to be here? If one of
Oh,
us is
absolutely,
out,
yeah,
we need all four.
We'd have to make
Do you
sure that,
vote as well?
no.
Okay. Is there any way we can, before we make our vote, Frank, do you think it would be good for the four of us to meet with the tenant association to get their input before the vote? Or do you think we should vote? And just for instance, say it's unanimous no, because it's going to be a unanimous vote, right? Say it's unanimous no, we don't want smoking anymore. Is it at that point that you want to meet with the tenants
Yes.
association? Okay.
Yes,
To hammer out the details.
yes,
I would like to vote next month
yes,
at the meeting.
okay.
I mean, my personal thoughts, just me, I could be swayed, but I mean, I'm 100% for no smoking here. And my
You said it
father,
has to be a
No, it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be unanimous.
And-
just a
and I
majority.
respect
Just a majority.
Dave's opinion more, very much so,
Excuse me.
but
Now, you say 4 people. What happened to the person that the state's supposed to?
They still haven't appointed one.
Why haven't they?
Because the governor's not gonna do it.
Till there's a new governor.
Why should he do his job?
Well, I know, but still, that's not a fair vote then.
You're right.
Well, we're
Then
not
why
the
does
only
it have
board,
to be
we're
the
not the
next-
only
You know,
board.
and
in this-
I really don't
We're not
care,
the
because
only
I don't
board that's in
smoke.
this position.
Many, many, many more.
Right,
housing
we're not the
authority
only board that's in
don't
this
have one.
position that has been working on demand. It's statewide, it's not just us. But we do have a quorum, and we'll make sure that all 4 of us are here. And it would be a legal pending vote.
And even though my personal opinion is no smoking, it's my personal opinion, and I've read a bunch of the letters, and if we don't vote till next month, I would love to see some more letters. If you know anyone who is adamant one way or another, you know, we'll welcome some more letters up until the vote, maybe a week before the vote, cut off the letters.
Well, I don't care if it comes, I just don't want it to come in my apartment.
Mhm.
But that's not the only smell you get coming in your apartment, so.
Yeah, but we can also, I'm totally for too, as
Do the
Dave
vents.
and Frank had suggested, and the Tenants Association, if it does go no smoking, I am totally 100% open to trying to come up with some agreement, whether we're going to set
Yep.
boundaries or not, where we
Right,
can.
oh no, absolutely, Julia,
I mean-
absolutely. And we'll work with Bill and
I want to take what the majority of, I agree with Frank. I hate to be put in this position, but if the 4 of us are responsible for the health of everyone, I like to look at the majority numbers.
Where did
What,
we lose the
is it
right to
actually
have responsibility?
that high in the majority?
Well, that was just his numbers. The studies he was looking at was 82%. It's in here somewhere
That's
what this housing authority right now
Oh, I
is.
can
It's
tell
in
you what,
here.
well, right now, the letters that I received, that last letter that we sent out with Scuttlebutt, 22 came back for smoke-free housing, 9 came back to remain smokers, so it was like 50%.
But I don't know how many people smoke on this property. I don't know.
see a
I
question in
actually
the
should
back?
have that count somewhere.
Yeah, I'm just throwing this out there. I'm 63 years old. I've smoked for 50 years. As of today, I've been smoke-free for 6 months.
That's
Good for you.
It's the hardest freaking thing I've ever done. It's true. It's addictive. The crap that's in cigarettes today, it's not like you can say, okay, I can't do this anymore because I live in a smoke-free housing authority. Put that cigarette out and walk away from it. It's not that easy.
We understand that.
And, you know, as far as, I personally feel that smokers have rights too. Even though I don't smoke, and I don't smoke because we're going smoke-free. I don't smoke because I'd like to hang around for another few years.
Yes. Right, in the back row.
I'm Marcia Burnham, and I live on Spruce Lane with Janice, and I've smoked since I was 16, but I'm down to 5 a day, and I don't smoke inside. Since I've lived here, I have not smoked a cigarette inside. I go out beyond, I don't know if you know Spruce, but the hedge. I go as far as the hedge, and that's where I pretty much have. And like I say, I smoke maybe a third of a cigarette. All I need is a couple of puffs, and then I come back in. And I feel like I should have the right to do that. I don't think a couple of puffs out in the air, even in the winter, I've gone out with my boots on, but I've never smoked inside. I can see not smoking. I've smoked since I was 16.
Okay.
But I know when I smoked in my home in Byfield, what I had to do to my house, my room, I only smoked in my own room. My walls were the color of that wall right there. And it took me forever to clean them before I sold it. So I
Thank you.
understand that, but I would like to be able to step outside and still go out to the hedge and have a few puffs.
Can I say one thing? This man was speaking, maybe I have it wrong, but you said that the way the exhaust systems are set up, if one room, so if a person was allergic to a cat, and the smell of the cat's coming up, so we should get rid of all the animals too, right? Is that what you're
It would be
saying?
the
Would you like me,
danger
I can
from
answer.
that.
Can I,
I just
Mr.
was,
Chairman?
I mean, I'm trying to put it in.
That's rhetorical. I can answer that question. I have an answer for that. Am I allowed to?
Sure, go ahead.
I think the statistics for death by inhalation of cat fur is probably very low. Very few people die from inhaling cat fur, but more people do die. This is serious. It's very serious that people die and get sick from cigarette smoke. The problem with the building is that there's no firewalls up in the attic. And so what happens, the smoke goes up through the vents in the attic and actually keeps circulating around. It's a serious thing, and the last thing we are doing here is put smoker against non-smoker, cattle ranchers against sheep herders. This isn't how it is. This is about asking for our thing. There is no, as this says, there is no constitutional right to smoke.
Baloney.
And
There's
that's
gotta
been
be.
proven
There's gotta
by
be.
law, and we understand the smokers, and I think a 15-foot buffer is fair. 50 feet is what the professionals say. You should be 50 feet from a smoker for the smoke to dissipate. In fairness, 15 is at least a buffer, so that we can do that.
Okay, thank you. Let's moving on. Correspondence. Nothing. Any other comments from the audience?
Well, I got just one.
Sure.
In my opinion, smoking would be outlawed if it wasn't for the federal government getting taxes on it.
Alcohol as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hasn't the state of Massachusetts declared all its buildings smoke-free? Post offices,
Yes, they have.
Beacon Hill, all of them?
And Georgetown has a regulation where you can't smoke in Georgetown property.
Is this complex
You can't walk down the
governed
street
by
and
the
smoke?
state?
Or you
We
get
don't-
arrested?
We don't,
Or it's just
We don't,
on
we
the
don't
other-
we don't
fall
fall
into
in-
the
we
same
don't- yeah.
category, but your point is very well taken.
It may be just a matter of time when the state will.
well, as Richard said, that would require a law, and that would take
You wanna vote on it?
many, many years going through the legislature to get that passed. So, and that's why they're
Well,
recommending
matter
to
of
us to
time.
handle it in our own way.
$10 a pack.
And I've never smoked.
Okay.
This young lady here.
Yes.
I just have a question. If the tenants association is gonna have an input of that, are they gonna have a meeting for other people besides just the smokers?
No, my recommendation on that would, after the vote, that the tenants organization have a person from each side, a part of that committee, so to speak, so that there would be equal input from both sides. That would be my suggestion to
I've
the
never
tenants.
smoked, but both my father and my husband did, and I was part of secondhand smoke. And I just spent 10 years being a caretaker to my husband who died last year from smoking, so I know what smoking does.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I think we all know what smoking does, but you also have to realize too, now, when this goes into place, okay, you're gonna have people snooping around to see if anybody's smoking, okay? And then it's gonna come to you, Diane, and you know what I'm talking about, eviction time, and that's not right.
Well, along with, when we set the parameters, that is gonna be one of the things that will be included in the package that will be sent out to everybody, defining what those rules would be, what those penalties would be. That would be clearly,
I just want that
that would be
understood.
clearly marked and in bold letters, so that, and, that's gonna be one of the hardest things that we're gonna have to do.
To deal with, yes.
To deal with, yes. We understand that. I understand that. Yes.
I know over in Merrimack, they have a gazebo where they can go out and smoke. And supposedly, after the third time getting caught, they're supposed to get evicted.
Yeah, well, again, those are
But they
things that
have
we're
to
gonna
go,
have.
they have to go out to the gazebo to smoke.
Okay.
And throw people out of the house 'cause they're
Okay.
addicted.
Anything else? Make a motion? Oh,
I have a question real quick. If I'm, for some reason, not able to make the second Wednesday of the month, just because I work in Baltimore, are we able to call a special meeting as long as it's advertised ahead of time?
Yes.
So I'm able to be present.
If you
Yes.
know, if you know before I post the meeting, it'd be even better, but
I may not, I may
that's
not.
okay. I can always unpost it and post it for the following
yeah.
week.
Yeah,
How,
'cause we
how much
just-
notice, oh, you just have to have a
48
week after?
48 hours,
Okay.
yeah. All right, make a motion to adjourn.
Make my ad.
Second?
Thank you.
You wanna stay?
Days and a half.